talking about war economy, I think that we should stress at least three issues which are relevant. The first one is that raising military spending to 5% or to 3.5%, if we focus on military spending, strictly speaking, requires basically cutting other social spending. For instance, Italy spends, current public expenditure of Italy is like 18.3% of our GDP. 6.7% is for health, and 3.5% is for education. So 3.5% is exactly the amount of money which the Italian government is spending every year for education. And having to spend that money for defense would imply cutting social welfare, and people would need to resort to financial markets to access let's say basic services, so health insurance, private pension schemes, and so on. Second, now we think of the current situation as a war, as a military escalation, but in the latest decades, what actually Europe did was implementing a very aggressive commercial politics against the rest of the world, and especially the global south, which can be considered somehow a kind of war, like a commercial war, but that is again something which goes in the direction of having military escalations, and that I think is an intrinsic characteristic of capitalism. So war is part of the dynamics of capitalism, and therefore we need a change of paradigm if we really want to escape from war. And last, but I think not least, Europe doesn't have a governance structure for defense. So even if we agreed, and I don't personally, that we need a European army, who would lead it? So which kind of governance would we have, and how, who would be in charge of taking decisions and managing the whole defense system in Europe? I think that this is a political issue which is quite relevant and should be faced, at least in order to understand how this 5% of GDP spent by every country in Europe would be used and to do what.